Hello everyone, welcome to the California Garden in the city of Irvine in Southern California in the United States of America. We have a lot going on in the June garden, so sit back and enjoy this episode. We will begin with a garden tour, we will look at the harvests we made this month, we will look at some things for you to do, and then we'll look at some cool gardening products. So let's begin with the garden tour, starting with the raised beds. We have the black cobra pepper, which is now producing some peppers, followed by the tomato plants, which are absolutely loaded with tomatoes now. I planted about 4 tomato plants in this bed, and as you can see, they have grown pretty large. And right next to that, we have the okra seedlings growing. Now, if you remember, last month we had transplanted some okras that are growing now. Transplanting was not the best method of growing okra. So I sowed some seeds and you can see the seedlings have emerged now and are growing. So it's a better way to direct sow okra. Moving on to the next bed, we have the taro root plants which have grown pretty large, and the cucumber plants are growing as well. And right next to that, we have the onions. The onions that were grown from sets are now drying up, and we will be harvesting them next month once the bulbs grow a little larger. So you will see the progress on this in the coming month. And right next to that, we have the eggplants, the Lista Digandia eggplants, and they have grown pretty large. And these plants are also producing some eggplants now. And in the first bed, as you can see, the bean plants as well as the amaranth seedlings are growing. And they've grown pretty well. And they should be ready for harvest very soon. And that completes the tour of our raised beds. We will now move on to the tour of our containers. In the back containers, we have the tomato plant, followed by the mint plant, and the basil plant that's growing well. And right next to that, we have the strawberry plant that's producing a lot of strawberries, the pineapple plant, which now has a pineapple growing on top of it, and the second strawberry plant that's also producing a lot of strawberries. At the back, we have the Meyer lemon tree, which is loaded with lemons right now, small lemons. And we have the curry leaf tree. Right next to that, we have the Thai chilies that have produced abundantly in the past 2 months. And the mulberry tree, which is growing well but not producing much. The turmeric plant that is now loaded with tubers, as you can see, growing pretty well. And the cayenne pepper plant that's also producing heavily. And another curry leaf plant at the back. In the front containers, we sowed some corn, followed by the early girl tomato plant that has produced quite a lot of tomatoes and is growing pretty well. And right next to the tomato plant, we have the sunchokes plant that has also grown quite well this month. We have the Nombo giant okra growing in the first container, followed by the ivy gourd that has produced quite a lot of ivy gourds this month. And as you can see here, looks quite beautiful. And finally, we have the Swiss chard plant that is producing a lot of Swiss chard leaves. We have curry leaf plants growing in one container, followed by the cilantro. As you can see here, the cilantro is growing very well now, despite the heat. We also have the pepper plants, our ghost pepper plant, as well as the sweet pepper and the poblano pepper plants growing. And we have the shallots that are growing pretty well in this container, followed by the Juliet tomato plant, one of my favorite tomato varieties to grow, and it is producing a lot of tomatoes. We have another row of containers that I haven't really set up so far completely, but we have the pineapple plant, we have the golden nugget orange tree that's growing in this whiskey barrel container, and we sowed a few seeds, radish, eggplants, and some corn. And eventually these containers will move to the main containers area, but we'll do that later. In the fruit trees tour, we have an update on our gem avocado plant, which was heavily pruned and is now growing well. The pomegranate tree is flowering, and hopefully we should be getting some pomegranates soon. The Mexican guava tree is loaded with flowers now. The moringa plant that was also pruned is now growing well. And the grape tree, which was completely pruned down last season is coming back up, but I don't think I'll be getting a lot of grapes this season. But I'm hoping that I get some flowers and then those turn into grapes this season. But it's pretty late now, so I'm not sure about that. And now let's look at the harvest we made, starting with chilies. Our chilies, or the hot cayenne pepper plant, has been growing very well in the past couple of months. And we harvested not only the red chilies, which are the ripe ones. The red chilies are the ones that have a different flavor than the green chilies that you see here. So we harvested the green chilies as well. And when the pepper or the chili is green and when it turns red, there is a slight difference in the taste of the peppers. So some people like the red peppers and some people like the green and hot peppers. Some peppers are actually hotter when they're green. For example, this cayenne pepper is quite hot when it's green, but it's hot when it's red as well. And the Thai chilies are similar. You can wait till they turn red and then harvest them, or you can harvest them green. And these peppers are actually hotter when they turn red, and their flavor changes quite a lot. So it's really a matter of personal preference. You can wait till the peppers turn red and then harvest it, or just harvest the green peppers and then use them like you would. The ivy gourd plant also produced abundantly this season. It's getting warmer and hotter, and the ivy gourd plant produces very well in these conditions. Now this is a 1-year-old ivy gourd plant, and you can see that as the plant grows, the harvest from the plant also improves quite a lot. This is a very delicious vegetable, and if you haven't tried ivy gourd, just try it out sometime, and you can then start growing it in your home garden. This is a ripe ivy gourd, as you can see here, and the others are the unripe ones. And the ripe ivy gourd actually has some seeds, and although you cannot propagate ivy gourd from seeds, or rather it's difficult to propagate them from seeds, I will be trying it out just to see how it goes. So I'll be removing these seeds and then putting them in a seed starting kit, and we'll wait to see how it goes. But the harvest looks very good. We harvested a lot of ivy gourds from our ivy gourd plant this season. Moving on to onions, the onion tops will actually fall over in this season, and if not, you can just uproot your onions and keep them, dry them in the sun for a couple of weeks, and they should be ready to go into storage. Strawberries are absolutely delicious when you harvest them fresh in your garden and then eat them. They are absolutely sweet and delicious. And you can see here the strawberry plants are producing very well now. They produce very well in the spring and the summer months. And you can see that these are very delicious strawberries. The plants are looking very healthy. And here you go. The strawberries are extremely nice, extremely flavorful, and very healthy as well. Swiss chard is also one plant that doesn't grow very well during the summers. But in this case, as you can see, it's producing a lot of leaves. And in areas where the summers are not very hot and the winters are not very cold, so zones 10, 11, even 9, you can grow Swiss chard pretty much year round. And Swiss chard is very delicious. It's very flavorful. It has a lot of nutritional value as well. And Swiss chard comes in various colors. This is the red Swiss chard that you see here. And you also have the green one growing right next to it. And each of these Swiss chard varieties is very delicious. They have their own unique flavors. And all the colors that you see here add a lot of nutritional value to your diet. And you can get the best produce from your garden when you're growing them right in your backyard, harvesting them and then consuming them. And moving on to tomatoes, the king of the summer crop. You can see here, this is the celebrity tomato variety that was growing in the container. And we harvested a lot of tomatoes from this container. A determinate tomato variety. The celebrity is one of the best tomato varieties you can grow. You can see how firmly it was attached to the plant, and I had to literally pull it out from where it was attached. So these tomatoes don't drop very easily once they are ripe. They are very flavorful tomatoes, and the plant is determinate. It doesn't grow like crazy, and it still produces a lot of tomatoes, as you can see here. So if you're growing in containers, I highly recommend this tomato variety. And you can see here the tomatoes look absolutely beautiful, and they are very delicious as well. And then we were growing our tomatoes in the raised bed. We had different varieties. We had the early girl, we had the big beefsteak and the big boy. All grew very well. You can see here the tomatoes look excellent. And we were able to harvest a lot of tomatoes from the raised beds. And you can see here different tomato varieties. And these are the ones that we got from Costco. And you can see here beautiful looking tomatoes that are very delicious. And the early girl tomato variety that was growing in the container, the whiskey barrel, also produced a lot of tomatoes, as you can see here. The early girl tomato is a very prolific and early tomato variety. It produces fruits quite early. That's why it gets the name the early girl. And you can see here the fruits are pretty large, and it's one of the most commonly grown tomato varieties here in Southern California, and is one variety that I would highly recommend that you try out growing in your home garden, because it's not only very productive, the tomatoes are very nice looking and they're very delicious as well. Now you can either harvest them while they are slightly red and then keep them on the shelf for ripening, or you can wait till they're completely red on the vine. Now let's look at some things to do in your garden. You can sow some seeds. Here we are sowing some radish seeds, and although radish is a cool season crop, I want to try out how it grows in the Southern California weather during this month. And we'll find out, and I'll let you know how this radish variety grows. And we're also sowing some corn here. We are sowing the glass gem corn. And it's also time to harvest some of your vegetables like onions if you've been growing onions with me. And it's also a good time to think about composting. Now I got this tumbling composter or the rotating composter, and this is very handy, and I'll post a product review for this composter sometime soon, but Costco has this for a great price. And now moving on to some gardening products. At your local Costco, you can see this butterfly garden kit. It has some nice plants that you can just take and plant in your home to create a beautiful butterfly garden. And it has some fragrant varieties as well. The Japanese maple trees are available at Costco for a very decent price. These grow into lovely trees, and they're very attractive in your garden. This little kit for kids is called Start and Sprout. It has everything that you need for starting your own little garden, and the kids will absolutely love it. It has everything that you need. I'm sure the kids will have a lot of fun with this product that you can find for very cheap at Costco. If you followed my advice and got the wine barrels or the whiskey barrels, you did a good job, because the price has now gone up. Plumeria. You can find a lot of plumeria trees at Costco, and they're available for a decent price. And we also have this raised bed garden kit, a vinyl based kit, which is a pretty good option to set up your own raised beds. It is a modular system, and as you can see here, it's made with good quality vinyl. And finally, we have our own shed. As you can see here, we use this to keep our tools, which are long and cannot be kept outside. They don't look very attractive when you keep them outside. So this shed takes care of it. It's made from really good quality material. It can withstand the elements and is quite roomy. And I'll provide a link to some of these products in the comment section below. So there we have it, folks. That was our episode on the California garden for the month of June. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you liked the episode, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to leave a comment below. We'll see you again soon. Happy gardening.